Whoa! Hey! Don't you dare freak out. Well, maybe you need to. Freak Out Friday at I Know a Guy Bicycle Shop. I Know a Guy Man, let's start that all over. Hey, welcome back to I Know a Guy Bicycles. This is Freak Out Friday. Hi, I'm Justin, the guy, and yes, you are tuning in my garage bike shop. Here today, we're just going to review the stuff I've been working on, looking on doing, and just a snapshot of what a bike mechanic or the insights of what a bike shop is dealing with on a Friday. And just a simple concept of that. But yeah, we're going to talk about some possibly industry news that you just can't not talk about it due to the fact that it's just big and big problems really, and don't want to be too much of a Debbie Downer. I want to leave Friday on a TGIF, great day Friday. Reason being is the garage door is open and I'm getting blinded by the glare out the car, and it is February, first week of February, and it is 60 degrees in the garage with the sun beating in. It's a beautiful day. Calm. Went for a beautiful ride yesterday to stretch my legs, get my head out of my, all the stresses and troubles that every bike shop person, people, human beings go through. And here I am. And this is going to be definitely interactive today because, hey, you know what? I don't have really a huge agenda. I'm just going to hang out with you, the community, and feel free to slam any questions or comments or what have you in the chat. If you're watching this on the replay, please continue the conversation there. It's just, it's a place that's a safe place for us bike mechanics, bike shop owners, and community avid to recreational or beginner cyclists just to hang out and get some insights and what have you. Hey, Michael, thank you for joining in. Joining in the chat. I have a glare, so I can't. You put a flag in, I can't really see what the flag is. It's bluish, reddish. I don't know. Maybe I'm colorblind. Anyway, but thank you for joining us here at Shop Talk Tuesday, or not. That's on Tuesdays. Whoa, it is Friday. My goodness, people, it's been one of those crazy, bizarre weeks. Challenging, but needless to say. More on a personal level, but we won't dive into that too much because we want to keep this a little more of just shop focus. And if you're joining me from another influencer out there and you just can't get enough bike stuff and you really want to get more into bike stuff, I'm here for you to carry the torch for the next hour to help you just feel good about bikes and riding, and if anything, feel about you doing what you do. Any case. But yeah, thank you for watching. Absolutely. John, thank you. Good morning to you too. From Minnesota. I can't do the accent correct. I'll butcher it and I'll offend somebody, so I won't do it. But it does relate with the land of 1,000 lakes. Is that right? Something like that. Beautiful country up there, but right now really cold, according to my buddy John, a different John, Mr. Bradley. He's up in Minneapolis right now. He splits time between here in Fort Collins, Colorado, where I'm in Loveland, which is 10 miles away from there, but he splits back and forth. So in any case, he's up there freezing his butt off and really complaining about just being stuck with indoor riding, which a lot of you guys are, and gals, just stuck with the indoor riding kind of thing. And when you get a nice day out, you want to have your bike ready and just be able to pump up the tires if it's been sitting for a little bit and just go. I had a question earlier on in the fall saying, what do I need to do to store my bike? And the simplest answer is just get it tuned up. Just have it tuned up, either do it yourself, fresh, all that. Just go down and make sure all that adjustments need to be done. So when you get a day like today and you're limited on time and you're like, crap, I'm going to ditch that meeting, or I'm going to listen to it in my earbuds as I'm riding down the road and maybe pull over and say something. But you got to take advantage of it. And I had an epiphany of a thought when I was riding yesterday, in which I usually get a whole bunch of bad ideas when I'm riding. I really don't think about anything other than just riding and whatever falls in my head. My dad had a quote that he loved, and it's a very common quote. It's called Carpe Diem. And there was a whole movie, the Dead Poet Society, that kind of thing. In any case, he loved Carpe Diem, seize the day, right? And to me, it's like, seize the bike ride because tomorrow may not come. So get out there. If you have an opportunity, kill all the excuses. I don't have the right clothes or whatever. Just bundle up in your regular, winter garb if you need to. Just put on a jacket. Just go out for a 15, 20-minute mile ride just to stretch those legs. Because I guarantee you being outside at this time of year where a lot of us get just boxed in with either weather or cold temperatures and so forth, really compounds our depression. And it's all about breaking that case of depression and look at the finer things in life, hug your family a little bit stronger, harder, or what, just embrace life. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't make it weird. But anyway, hopefully you can hear me well. Hopefully you can see me well. I have like glare coming off of the cars, which is great. Standing in the sun, my legs are getting warm. This is great. I love it. This just makes you feel like spring is close, but in Colorado, March and April is our snowiest months. So, those Coloradoans, we got to take advantage of this because we may not be on our bike again until June if we have a cold spring. But in any case, all right, 6'5", Bugnut. Hey, welcome back. Good morning from southeast Nebraska. Hopefully you got some good temperatures there. Oh, looking forward to 70. Yeah, we have a string. Yesterday it was like in the mid 60s, which felt like our little weather thing in the backyard said 69, 70 degrees. Similar today, tomorrow, Saturday, and Monday. So it's like Sunday and Monday. It's like, get out there and ride. And I do have one bike in my stand I'm working on. I feel bad. I think it's his primary bike. So I'm like, I emailed him just a few minutes ago, like, hey, dude, I have a bike in your size-ish, and if you want to ride this weekend, you can borrow it. I mean, I know you were in no rush for this, but you were anticipating crappy weather. I don't want to limit you for not going out and spinning some spinning some cranks and having a good day, that kind of thing. So, that's kind of like the community reach kind of deal. So do what I can. Whew, boy. Yeah, boy, here we go. Oh, Michael, thanks again for chiming in. Aqua Virus, that's an interesting name. Hey, at least you do have days like that. Yeah, it's nice. It's hot. Country's pretty much 3 months of the unrideable outside with no, oh boy. Yeah, you're in an area that's not really that great. Oh, I need to put the chat so everybody can see it. There we go. Because they're cross-format platforms, so everybody understands. Let's see what I'm reading there. But yeah, thank you for chiming in and joining the conversation. Appreciate it. Saddlewary 2777. Hello from North Carolina. Heavy Metal Cycles in the house. Austin, Texas. I bet you're probably a little warm right now. Yeah, any case, talking about for those who are not in Carolina or in Texas, the rest of us are in the colder half of the country. I'm talking about trying to get out there and get, today's a great day to inspire myself to just get out there, go for that short ride, long ride, try to forget about things and enjoy the simple things of life. Carpe diem, ride the bike, because tomorrow may happen. And we've had, some friends of our friends just lost a family member abruptly, and I shout out to them and their loved ones and so forth. And it just kind of, even though I don't know the person, I know the people it does affect, and it just really kind of pushes me to like, wait a second, slaps me in the face, go, wake up, right? Wake up, spend a little more time with your daughter, spend a little more time with your family, spend a little more time with your wife. Sit there and actually listen and not be distracted by all the other little things out there. And invite them on an outing of outside, go for a bike ride with them. Or, I'm going to try to rope my daughter into riding this weekend and see if she'll want to go with me. as well as my wife. If not, we're going to go bowling. Anyway, it's all the simpler, finer things of life, and just take a beat, and just just think about just for a minute and go. I'm a human being here doing my thing, and there's a lot of people that I affect in my life, and I want to make sure it's a positive reinforcement of those effects. Any case, woo! All right. Oh, 40 to 50 degrees, really? Or is it going to get up? What's your high full heavy metal cycles? Oh, minus 20 degrees here in Canada. Oh, Joe, welcome to the Joe channel. Joe O's channel. He has a channel. It's pretty cool. He's up in Canada. He weathers the storm of riding in cold temperatures, and a few of his videos are just like make you feel like I don't have to actually too bad here. This is good. But in any case, he's a very entertaining individual. Oh yeah, I hope you get out there and do some riding, bear the weather, layer up, and that kind of thing. So yeah, Friday, bike shops in February. We're all trying to figure out what's our next steps, and that's always the case in off season for most of us. But this is not a normal winter, not a normal season that we're faced with. We've had a good understanding and trials and tests over last year in the sense of how the market has changed and all those things. And I'll talk about the indicators of what the big guys, gals in the industry, and talking about the manufacturers and what they're dealing with in a little bit here. But I want to touch upon the real people. Well, I don't say real people. That doesn't sound right. The frontline retail bike shop people that try to develop and cultivate and work with their communities of cycling. Those who come to us for help to get their bikes ready and get them excited about riding and give them opportunities or options and all those things, right? I mean, there's so much. A good bike shop is a huge resource that got disconnected for a while, and now it's being reinserted as a portal or a hangout place or a go-to for those who are just starting riding, or looking for that nicer, newer fix-up or whatever they need, community. And taking away the showroom, high-end showroom philosophy and just kicking that to the curb, because that's not where we're at right now. And there are alludes that a lot of shops in the last year or two have altered their business plans or function of their business, changing staff to that particular mindset and reverting back to, if they already weren't there, to the mom and pop shop feel, the warm hug, Schwinn stores of the old. Like, Schwinn stores were huge. They're all independently owned, but they may have a Schwinn store name on there, and that's where you went to for your local bike stuff and cool bikes and fun bikes, not the overly expensive boutique bikes. There's a market for that, sure, but the other 95% of us don't live in that world, and that narrative has been flipped, and here we are. So welcome to the 2026 service used supporting bike shop perspective. Those are the three main elements you're going to be seeing in a lot of bike shops, hopefully in your neck of the woods, that kind of thing. But yeah, in any case, back to the chat. Who's talking about what? Oh, 70 degrees, yeah. Yeah, and when I talk degrees, it's Fahrenheit. Those are outside our dumb borders. It's Celsius over there, so I don't know the conversions in my head, but you can probably figure it out. It's warm. Let's put it that way. 60 degrees is shorts with 2 layers on top, and if it's windy, you put something else on. If it's not, you just go. And the sun warms you up. You got to put on some sunscreen because, hey, your legs are exposed. That kind of thing. Anyway, But yeah, it reminds me, I have to go buy more sunscreen, oddly enough, because I ran out from yesterday. Anyway, all right. Oh, let's see here. David, welcome in the garage. I need to say not house because well, kind of is. It is my house, but it is the garage of the house. So welcome to the garage. I always like, oh, thank you, appreciate it. I feel flattered, and your content. Oh, yeah, a bike farmer has his place. Obviously because he has over 100,000 subs, but it is what it is. Yeah, he had a pretty political rant this morning, which that's fine. That's his, of course, it's his channel, and that's what he wants to talk about, of course. But I want to have it. If it's going to be that, it's going to be what's affecting what actually is the cycling community in business. All right, so yeah, it's true. But hey, if you love him, hate him, whatever you think about the bike farmer, thank you for hanging out here. That's all it is. Really, at the end of the day, warm hugs. I mean, it is what it is. So, and he doesn't resonate with everybody, so that's fine. And I try to keep it less political, more just what is actually happening with a true sense of perspective. Of my opinion piece, let's throw that out there, of what I see in my little world and how my little world is touched upon all these big corporations and so forth over the years. So, been there for a while. And if you just joined for the first time, first, welcome. I am Justin from Noah Guy Bicycles. I have a YouTube channel, obviously, and also on Facebook if you're watching from there. And I refurbish bikes and work on bikes in my garage, and I do tune-ups, and I've tried to cherry pick all the really fun parts of working in a bike shop and just put them in my garage and not have the brick and mortar headache. So there's some challenges to that as a business, but it still works to some degree, and it's really going to have to work a little more efficiently going forward due to the fact that, unfortunately, my wife was laid off last week, so I got to pick up the pace and get some. It's a good fire on my butt. Perfect time for it in a sense. Off season. Let's get my ducks in a row. Communications, partnerships, all those things to basically provide a good portal place for those who are getting bikes worked on for used or buy used, or just getting people on bikes, really, as a community feel. So that's where I'm at. 65. Do you have group rides with your customers? Not officially. So that goes down. I'm not that much. I mean, you'd think I wouldn't be an introvert. I am a little bit when it comes to riding. I just like to just go. But I don't. I like group rides and so forth. And I did ask about when I first opened up my business and that kind of thing. You have to have a special insurance for that. That's what it really comes down to. If I meet up somebody on the trail and go for a ride, cool, that's great, it's fun. But I can't have official ones unless I want to pay the extra insurance for that and the consistency of that. So unfortunately, it's that way here. But yeah, if I want to try to maybe. It's all about time. My times are just all over the place, and sometimes I don't know if I get a chance to ride because I have a family and a daughter, and I can't do evening rides, and Saturdays get tied up with family stuff. But when that stuff kind of shakes out a little, or my daughter decides to want to ride with me on those group rides, yeah, let's do it. I'd be probably more intrigued to doing gravel group rides. It just gets us off the roads in a sense, that kind of thing. But yeah. I've done it in the past and so forth through shops, and it's fun. I'm all about the no drop because I'm a slow mechanic, not just as a mechanic, but I'm also slow at riding. So getting up there in age, it's like I'm not the strapping young lad as I used to be and just hammer all the time. It's like I just rather kind of put my head up and look around and enjoy the scenery, especially during summertime around the lakes. There's really an eyeful there. In any case. Let's see. Go back to chat here. A great question. Yeah, and most of my customers will smoke me. Let's just put it that way. Or my community. I like to call them my community more than just customers, because I look at them more than just somebody I'm trying to get money out of. I'm trying to help them expand their experience. That's how it all is. Oh, heavy motorcycles. Love my Schwinn shop. Growing up in Iowa in the 70s. Yeah, there's a lot of Schwinn shops in the Denver metro. There's Westside Schwinn and a couple others. We were a Schwinn store when we opened our store, Parker Bikes in '87. But we did carry Trek and other. We were not just proprietary, just carrying all Schwinn. But man, I just remember like John Davis walking in. He was our bike rep, and he'd come in and be like binders and binders of all the stuff that Schwinn carried. It was just nuts, all paper. Paper orders over the phone, all that crazy jazz back then. But yeah, it did not have even remotely close what the corporate stores look, or even the franchise stores. I wouldn't say franchise, and we're not franchise, but like concept stores. That's what it was when Specialized and Trek pushed the concept store narrative. Didn't even come close to that kind of sterileness, turn off customer feel. I mean, they're pretty, but pretty intimidating too. So, but the Schwinn stores were just like walk in, creaky floors, smell of rubber and dust. That's kind of like I have in my head walking in Westside Schwinn and various other shops. Absolutely. It was pretty cool though. Oh, David, you just bought a 1981 Schwinn Latour. Woo, $50. Yeah, it's going to be, if it has a 27-inch tires, those will be kind of limited, but you can still get some parts to work on that. Oh, is that the Japanese steel one? Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I'll have to tell John Bradley about that. He's all into the Schwinn historical stuff for sure. I think he gave me a replica Schwinn frame that I need to figure out how to sell or list for him. Oh, my profile picture. Oh, nice. Saddlewood 2777. Absolutely. Yeah, classic pictures, classic bikes. Love them. Actually, I got a Massey in front of me. I mean, it's not that old, but it's a little bit older. Really cool. Massey has been around for a long time, known for road stuff mainly. Yeah, a little less. It's just more what directly affects us here in the bike shops. It's like, I mean, we're not sheltered from it by any means. And what we really need to be looking into and finding out in the last week or so, that inventory is going to be really squirrely going into the next season. And not just inventory, but pricing too. Talking to my chain guy, and he's like, yeah, 50% tariffs on steel. That includes bicycle chains on top of whatever country they're coming from. And that's still applied right now. So you look at a bicycle chain, let's say it's like a $40 chain, 50% tariff, even if they eat 25% of it, that means 25% of that bike chain is going to go up. So that's where you're going to be seeing at least 25%. Because this is going to be, a lot of these companies are going to absorb some of it for the time being to not totally scare people away from buying their products, because it's just overpriced because of that, and it erodes some of their margins as well. So it's going to be a struggle for them. We'll get into that part here in a minute, but yeah, it does affect us, and therefore got to be mindful of it. And that's where a lot of us are reevaluating our inventory and our suppliers and talking to them, which is time consuming, every other week instead of every 3 months, and just kind of get a pulse on it, because we can't know if our inventory is going to be there, or is it going to be there in 3 weeks from now when service is going to hit hard and nobody has any extra cash flow right now to bulk up on inventory. I mean you can ish, but a lot of us can't. I'm not buying $1,000 worth of chains and sitting them in my garage just waiting for the repairs to come in. That's just not going to be happening. Some shops will, of course, but it's uncharted. Your historical numbers and all that are not valid. So any of your sales for the last 3 years, any algorithm that you have that helps you project your purchasing power and all that is totally blown out of the water, because you just don't know. And what's available is going to be another variable factor too. So it's going to be kind of like COVID in a sense. You're going to be opening up vendors as many as you can, or buy them anywhere where you can find it. So if one vendor has one, but here's the catch. Some of those vendors are no longer there anymore. KHS is gone, a few others. So the pipeline for getting inventory in is shrinking, even on top of that. So Going to be tricky, very tricky. In any case, good point though. And I just lost, lost my train of thought. Soapboxed it. I soapboxed it. Sorry. All right, but thank you for chiming in. Thank you for interactive. This is helps me get through what we need to go through. Yeah. I mean, there's a time and a place for everything, right, people? So here we're on a bike channel. We're going to talk about bike stuff and bike industry things. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. Oh, heavy metal cycles. Oh, your wife got laid off too. Ah, sorry about that. High-end, high-tech. Yeah, tech is being attacked, obviously, because Amazon laid off a whole bunch of people because of AI. But my wife's in atmospheric science. And obviously that's been eroded over the last year of jobs, opportunities, and contracts and so forth and all that. So it's gonna be tricky, just tricky. So we're preparing for the long haul. Therefore, i.e., I need to ramp up whatever I do here to help offset the salary deficit. But that's a lot of bike shop people. That's a lot of bike shops themselves, because a lot of owners of shops have significant others that work somewhere else. It's not usually just a couple like my parents. They both worked at the shop, but there's one shop that the wife worked in either real estate or insurance or something like that. And Smoky Hill Cyclery, Dan the man in Aurora, his wife was a jeweler, I don't know, made a lot of money. I mean, and that guy was weird. Okay, let me back up. All cycling people, personalities in the cycling industry, we're all kind of bizarre. We all are bizarre on our own lovable way. So yes, you may not like other channels because they're extremely different. I implore you, if you're a bike mechanic or a bike shop owner, start your own channel, because your weird uniqueness, it will add another flavor of the color wheel of the bike industry. We are all, I mean, you go to a bike show, it is highly entertaining because you got serious individuals to just, I'm here to have a great time, dude. And you're like, wow. Been a few shows and they are all like that. I mean, it's just like that. It's a lot of fun. So back to the crazy story. Dan the man, Stan the man, Stan Stanley. Yeah, Stan. Dan Stanley? Can't remember. Anyway, he took his wife's last name when he got married. It would be Stan the man versus something else, which is really odd. And he was really a crotchety bike owner back in the 80s, 90s. He'd close like 2 weeks after Christmas because he didn't want any returns. He was always griping about something, but also really kind of funny. And him and my dad just clicked. It was just kind of funny. I don't know. It's just like those personalities. And I do meet some of them still, and it's great. It just puts me back in the day and also going forward. So anyway. All right. Let's see here. Heavy metal cycles. I don't think Schwinn had a license to sell evil stuff. It was AMF. Interesting. The red, white, and blue. Oh, you're talking about one of the signature series. Yeah. Not really. I mean, John Bradley would be the one that I was to talk about. Oh, Charlie. Local guy. 1400. Oh, riding Risk Canyon today. That's a good one. Risk Canyon is a nice road grinder for us here locally, and a fun descent. But yeah, welcome to Freak Out Friday, and thank you for chiming in. Highly appreciate it. Weird can be cold, or weird can be cool. Yeah, could be cool and it could be weird, and some people. Yeah, and I was listening. Someone talking about one of the bike employees or old timers, and they just got to be pulled out of the shop because they just were just so grumpy, too grumpy. They were done. Time to go retire. That kind of thing. Taking things way too seriously. Oh, Saddle Weary. Oh, my town isn't a bike town, even if I could run a shop. That's too bad. There are some places. I mean, I'm very fortunate that cycling is huge here. So much so, Boulder is like an hour drive from here, close to Denver, and that's where Giant is relocating their headquarters from California to there. It just makes sense. A lot of big hitters have been in Boulder or around about Lafayette over the years. Schwinn, when they got revamped, they had a quarters close to there. Specialized. Shimano had their Pearl Zumi line there for a while. They owned Pearl Zumi, now somebody else owned Pearl Zumi clothing line at this time. And there's a whole bunch. Feedback Sports is still up in Golden, which is pretty close to the Boulder area. So it's a mecca epicenter of some corporate offices. It's a lot of riding. We have a lot of beautiful days in the off season. The cost of living is fairly lower, obviously, to California. So it seems like a win-win. Specialized pulling their office there and pushing those individuals to live in Morgan Hill. That's a little bit of a different twist. But when you're looking at the savings, not necessarily the retail or the corporate building savings, but the cost of salaries for individuals and the quality of life is another thing that really entices people to open up corporate locations in Colorado. Therefore, Boulder is the epicenter of a lot of different things, like or surrounding areas as well. NOAA's there, a lot of scientific communities. CU Boulder is a driver of a lot of that. It's been like that for decades. So, in any case, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. And then bleeding up north, where I'm at, Loveland and Fort Collins, we do have some tech and stuff. It's like the hidden secret, which is no longer hidden. Our population boom up here is pretty significant, but that encourages cities and developments to add more bike lanes and bike paths and community recreational stuff. So it's good. It's all positive move. So in any case, but yeah, there is places that say, I mean, one place we moved to and it had like all this fluff about, oh, it's great cycling and all that and so forth. And it's like, it was not even paled comparison where we're at. Highly disappointed when we moved there. Lived there only for 2 years and moved away. I won't throw them under the bus, but it was a college town. You'd think it'd be more, but it wasn't. It was just weird. Anyway, gravel riding and fat bikes in the winter was pretty huge. But other than that, they did have big cycling communities, but it was nothing compared to the infrastructure that we have here. So I'm sorry to hear that. Wish that had more, it should be more universal. Heavy motorcycles, I agree, they were a little off. As long as you acknowledge it, as long as you understand. Because, that's that proverb or whatever it is, like, if you don't identify the weirdo in the room, I'm saying that politely, you are the weirdo. So, it's okay. I know I'm a personality in itself, but hopefully it's more of a positive experience versus, oh my God, I don't want to deal with that guy, which I've had to divert away from some people like, oh gosh, I don't want to talk to them. I'd be stuck with that conversation. Doom and gloomers. Even though we're in some hardship times, I'd rather try to put a positive spin on it and just go down that rabbit hole and be depressed. So, and try to make the best of it. I mean, that's where we're at right now. So if you try to make the best of it and you do it correctly and you really listen and understand and take a good look with an unbiased opinion about either inventory or customer base or any of that, you're going to have a higher success rate of digging out of whatever's going on around you versus just following down that rabbit hole and just being grumpy and going out of business. So we don't want that. Yeah, we're a little off for sure. Charlie, bike shops and guitar stores can both be either super fun or totally off-putting, depending on the vibe of the staff. Yes, staff, huge. Surf shops too. Yeah, it's any kind of specialties, sports or I wouldn't say experience, hobbies. I'm not saying that cycling's a hobby, but other things are hobbies, right? That kind of thing. Oh, that reminds me. I've been talking, and I do need to bring you all to the attention of one of the many things I'm working on is adding to the library of more wax chains, and this guy is the one that's going to help me with that. So if you think about getting a wax chain, switching over to like speed chip and all that kind of stuff, this is the person to talk to.
A very popular chain process or waxing of Vital bike chains provides brand names like Shimano, SRAM, and various others to be cleaned in high detailed 5-step process and then waxed to your professional level with either speed chip or endurance chip, which has been proven to have better performance and better lasting events and recreational riding. Takes care of the messy process, and all you have is the clean wax chain ready to perform. Check them out. Discount code with a link below.
Yeah, so if you're thinking about doing wax chains, I'm working with Bill over there at Vital Bike Chains. Super cool guy. That's all he does. And my perspective is being, especially since just a one-person bike shop dude, you know, even if my customers came up like, I want a SRAM such and such or a Shimano such and such chain that I may not have anyway, and I would have to order it, and I want to try that speed wax or a different thing. It's like, oh, I can go to Bill and trying to work out a platform where he can provide, I wouldn't say strictly wholesale, but a little bit cheaper chain. So you can still make a margin on it, but yet you are not doing the work. It's already pre-processed. So you still make the margin off the chain, and then you're providing that customer that specialty waxed chain. So working on, those are like one of the many things of drop in the buckets that I'm working on. Or money buckets, if you will, to be truly full frontal. Opportunities to help my community as well as keep me going. Therefore, you know, that's what we're all looking for. And at the end of the day, it's really just providing a better service and then providing those services without having the upfront lift of costing it on our end, because there's so much bandwidth that most bike shops can work around or work with. And that's all we're challenging and going through right now. So anyway, that's one of those perspectives for sure. Yeah, so I mean, I think I know there's a conversation going about staffs and that kind of thing. When I worked at the big box chain store, not Performance, did that for a short period of time, but it was Big Five Sporting Goods, which they're actually closing stores too now. I've always, even though we were corporate, I would always implore all the staff, especially my part-timers, like, this is how we want to treat people. We want to listen, to be engaged, and, you know, try to help them out. You're here to work, like to, you know, help them, you know, whatever sporting or shoes or whatever, and try to help them out. And when you vet the right staff and you set an example of that's how your store is ran, and keep a pulse on the staff too, because sometimes they get burned out or tired or what have you, or freaked out or personal life or in the shop or whatever. If you can, you know, keep it 98% positive workflow with your staff, that's going to resonate to the overall experience of whoever's walking in those doors. So that's a huge gold nugget into it. Once you get there, it's great. Sometimes it's a challenge to get the whole staff on board and doing that kind of thing. So, and you know, you have to do some adjustments sometimes, which means, you know, some people have to be let go or they get put in off hours, whatever, you know, whatever it needs to be, you have to direct that. But it really does, especially brick and mortar, it all comes down to the customer experience, and that customer experience will resonate through the ecosystem of that culture. For example, one person comes in, you don't know they're part of the cycling club, and they get miffed about something. Guess what they're going to be talking about on their next group ride? Or if they have the best experience possible, they may not talk about it next group ride, but if somebody's talking about, oh, I have this problem with my bike or what have you, they may actually chime in and go, hey, I just went down to this shop and they actually did a really good job, so you might want to give them a try. So that's where you want to get that embedded knee-jerk kind of community outreach through grassroots, because that's what's driving a lot of businesses right now. It's not the flashy emails and any of that stuff. It's really just, convenience and being taken care of right the first time really is driving factor for a lot of business success right now. Because it's not because they carry the latest fancy product. It's not product driven right now because nobody can afford those products at this point. Anyway, G-Pass in the house from New York. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying warm, staying busy, and getting ready for the season. Where's that leather strap? I got to bite down on it. It's going to be a rough one. And your vendors, keep a pulse on that. That's going to be interesting, say the least. But hey, it's what it is. We got to work with what we have, right? All right. The closest bike city to me was big in BMX during Dave Murren days. Huh. Oh, it fell off. Oh, you're in Greenville, North Carolina. Yeah. I'm sorry to make it sound like, oh, you're living there. No, I mean, I never been there. I worked with somebody virtually that lived there. Or actually, it was Greensboro's, but I think it was in the same city. You have a lot of green towns down there, right? Anyway. Yeah, some parts, some states just not have gravitated and embraced the cycling. Although there's still shops that are just, man, they are trying their hardest. And sometimes they get success and sometimes it's not as great. Any case. Yeah, if you can get like a good population of the hipsters getting on those single speeds, that could drive some business and drive some outreach in a building. Yeah. All righty. Let's see. You can go to, when you're visiting cities, cycling is still, if they have somewhat of an infrastructure, a great way to see the local surroundings for sure. But I would really implore anybody that's traveling to plug into the local shops and go, hey, where's a good safe place to ride? The last thing you want to do is die on a trip, or insult some people that kind of thing. But anyway, that's where we're looking at. There's variations, but if you find yourself in a good place, I was talking like Las Vegas. We'll be out there for the bike show, but you wouldn't think it. But Las Vegas is actually they have a huge cycling culture there. A lot of bike shops, road and mountain, not so much gravel. And they also have like a cruiser scene, that kind of thing, slow ride scene. So I've seen a lot of that. That's really pretty cool. So, sometimes you just can't have like the stigma of like, oh, Las Vegas, it's not just the Strip. That's just actually a very small part of the city, even though it's the big umbrella of it. But the surrounding communities, Sutherland is really beautiful on the west side of Las Vegas. Beautiful riding, Red Rocks. Does get pretty hot in the summer though. But if you do it during spring, fall, and even the winter, beautiful riding, absolutely. Oh, Bill, Vital bike chains in the garage. Gotta stop the house thing. In the garage, of course. Reach out to him. He's doing all sorts of cool stuff with speed wax and everything else in between. Oh, South Carolina, North Carolina. Oh, okay. I got confused. Sorry, buddy. Saw you're saying stuff about the big three brands kind of self-imploding. Then another utterly making a case that Walmart is starting to sell better quality bikes to sweep up the market. Well, all together to go house. Great to house. First, welcome to the channel. Thank you for chatting. Thanks for your question. Yeah, that leads to the other big the big question in the room, what we're going to be facing with here. But yeah, well, let me catch up on some of the chat here. While if you're looking to upgrade your ride, something like this, and you're looking for rim brakes and not something too junky, and the vendors are not bringing in a lot of this, so you're probably better off searching it for yourself if you go to a bike shop. This is a great place to go check out those custom laced wheels that do rim brakes, as well as mountain bikes and newer stuff, but they're pretty good.
Wheel Warehouse in California has an excellent selection of wheels to choose from. They're pre-built, or also you can have them custom built up to various sizes. You can reach out to them directly if you have something unique like the 650 wheel or a different style hub. Therefore, it makes it an excellent bike wheel set company that actually provides good wheel sets without breaking the bank. You will find them being very trusted and true. They really hold up under a lot of different riding conditions and so forth. It takes the standard old school wheel building practices and puts them in a better format. But in any case, this is a wheel set you'll be really love to have. It'll perform for you for a long period of time, and the quality and the attention to detail is superb. You'll find information about this company in the description below, with also my personal coupon code. I hope you find a good wheel set where it works for you.
All right, let's dive in. I mean, I have a couple wheels featured on my channel from Bicycle Wheel Warehouse. One was a road set, quick release, rim brake. The customer wanted a wheel set that's going to hold up for a long time, and custom building wheels has become kind of a lost art in a sense. And he got a set that's pretty solid, and I think they're still holding up really. And this is a guy that rides like 10, 15,000 miles, that kind of thing. He's worn out wheels, he's worn out frames, a lot of riding. So he knows eventually they will fail like everything, but it'll last him a lot longer when you do that. And that's the same practices we did back in the 90s for bigger riders and so forth, where there just wasn't that availability for a product from your vendors. So as well as unique, like I had one for the Klein mountain bike I just put together. I have a video in my library too on that. And the wheels on that he built up was just fantastic. I mean, awesome set. It'd last, probably the remainder of the life of the bike. Let's put it that way. And he does the through axles, a few carbons, everything else. So that's something really to check it out. And it's Bicycle Wheel Warehouse. There's a pretty good discount too. So, and they do have a pretty quick turnaround. And if you're have a vintage bike or a bike, don't rely. And this is what's going on into the bike shop perspective is the service managers, service writers, customer beware, in the sense that when you bring those bikes in, they typically have gone through a knee jerk of going through only their vendors to get stuff, like from QBP or JBI or BTI, Holley. Those are the wholesalers that sell the bike shops, parts, chains, tires, wheels, all those things. Well, that inventory is getting really weird in the last couple of years, especially going into this year. And what I mean by weird is you may be able to get a 9-speed chain, but it may not be the exact match of a 9-speed chain that you want, or a model or something like that. And if it is, it's going to be more expensive. When it comes to wheels, especially on rim brake, where the industry's been the Kool-Aid pushing to through axle disc only, to get a nice wheel set that's a rim brake to match your 600 or your Ultegra wheel set, or your mid-level Campanoli or whatever, that's where the bike shop will have a wheel available, but it's going to be a single wall, which means not a very strong rim, very heavy spokes, in a knockoff hub that has no quality to it. So very subpar replacement wheel to a mid to higher end bike range of yesteryear. So therefore, this is, Bicycle Wheel Warehouse is one of those places where you can get a nice matched wheel set to the vintage, also even new, that's going to be a little more better without going super crazy and buying carbon and all that. And the price points are actually not that bad. An additional 25% off right now, that even makes it even better. So in any case, it's a plug, yes, but it's a valid one. Because if you buy a used bike right now, there's a 1 to 3 chances wheel sets are probably not great, that should be replaced. So just a heads up. That's my experience of refurbishing bikes. I mean, 1 out of 3 are like, yeah, no, need a new set. Or you go buy a used set, which is another scary rabbit hole you can go down. But in any case, yeah, exactly there. All right, back into the chat. Who's talking about what? Yeah, the wax chain process is pretty nice. They're heavy metal cycles. It's clean. That's most of my customers just like it because it's clean. The performance factor, it's there. Silka, Josh at Silka says you get like 3 to 6 watts of faster speed and that kind of thing. Yeah, absolutely. But for me, it's clean and it's low wear and tear. And on top of it, your experience of riding, it shifts a lot smoother and it's quiet in most cases, like super quiet. So most of the people that have switched over to wax in my community, customers, they are like never going back to drip lube. That's, the traditional petroleum based or Teflon based. They're definitely going a different direction. But yeah, that's absolutely a good way to go there. Take a look at it. Either do it yourself or check with Vital Bike Chains and see if something it'll work for you as as a supplier, or working through that for sure. All right. Last chain I clean, the brake clean, auto parts, PB blaster. Yeah. It's so funny, like you mentioned that heavy metal cycles, there's the bicycling subset of everything they're trying to sell people. That's, like clean streak and this lube and that thing and that. And it's like, well, and bike polishes and so forth. Well, there's other industries that have actually taken that product and been doing it for a long time and make better products and a lot cheaper. Yeah. A lot of it crosses over into the auto industry. Like the bike polishes I use and the lithium auto care ceramic coatings and so forth. They're not in, they're tested and tried on these car things and not bicycles, but they work really, really well on bike stuff. And then you have companies like Muckoff, for example, try to do a little bit of everything. Yeah, they have a ceramic coating kit. It's really expensive. And I don't know if it's the same quality or up to par to some of the auto stuff. That's like half the cost. So be mindful when you're diving into those kind of obscurity product lists, let's say, and maybe those will carry over. Like Clean Streak works really well, but it's pretty expensive. But brake cleaner, carb cleaner, you got to be careful because it's even stronger, but it does the job. I mean, and you definitely wear gloves and all that. Oh, you can do it on matte finishes. It doesn't shine it up. It does work on matte finishes. It works on pretty much all materials. I've had really good luck on a matte finish paint with ceramic coating. Well, at least with the lithium one. And it does the same properties, UV protection and all that. And it doesn't shine it out. Like it doesn't become like a matte and all of a sudden shiny. It does work pretty well on that. And I've done several frames so far with matte finishing on that. So talking about like bike industry. Look, Larry, welcome to the house. I'm just looking at other chats here. Anybody else is newer? San Antonio, not very helpful. Yeah, some bike shops, I mean, hopefully they're starting to change their perspective, especially the corporate stores and that kind of thing. So, but in any case, well, can I use? Yeah, I've used ceramic coating on titanium metal, and I stack it like I'm doing on this one. I'm doing the detailing on the Mossy here, cleaning the frame, getting the base coat. Then I try to clean up all the scratches, and I'm using a compound. It's called Compound from Adams, and that helps correct the paint quality or the surface, kind of smooths it out basically. And then I use a polish from Adams, which really helps lift any extra dirt underneath that and it really cleans up the paint. But that doesn't actually protect it. That just makes it look pretty. And then you clean that all off with rubbing alcohol. Wipe it down, which it just takes off the polishing compounds. So there's nothing left except for direct paint connection with the ceramic coating. And when I do a ceramic coating, this is why it takes so long, especially the person that's sitting like, you have my bike, I see it, what are you doing? And it's like, ceramic coating takes a while, not the process, well, the cleaning process lift to get to that point takes a while, but the actual ceramic coating application doesn't take long, but you got to let it cure. So when you're looking at, once you get to that stage of applying the ceramic coating, you apply it, and that's like, 5-10 minute job to do it. It has a lot of corners and nicks and crannies on the frame, so you really have to go over it twice with one coating to kind of make sure you got all the parts on the frame and the fork. And then you got to let it at least sit for 4 hours to 12 hours. And that cures before you add another layer onto it. And then you wait another. So sometimes I get distracted and maybe the next day and the next day. So, 2 days later, I'll have the frame completely ceramic coating. And that stacking will ensure, especially with all those nicks and crannies and corners, if you go up multiple times, they get all covered at some point. It might be only have one, but most likely two at least. And that also gives you the extra barrier of UV protection, water beating properties, shedding of dirt, and it's super smooth. And also then on top of it, as a byproduct, it makes the frame look fantastic. Like the color, deep rich colors and so forth. Did it on that Klein frame. It's my library videos on YouTube, and you can see the color from the blue shifting to the green with the deep bass glitter in there. It's like pops. So, it's a whole process. Yeah, and you're like, well, why doesn't my bike shop do that? Well, it's a heavy lift to kind of figure out how to do it. It's not actually a technical piece of it, but you can add that as a service to the quiver of services that you provide in your service center of your bike shop, especially if you're looking at or have customers that have high-end bikes or mid-range to high-end bikes with really pretty paint jobs, and they'll be willing to pay a little extra money to have those protected. Absolutely. I mean, there's an opportunity there to do that. And yeah, and I do have, links in my description or through my trusted partners for the products there. So any case, and that's on my Amazon store. You can find a lot of that stuff. But yeah, I'm trying to work on partnerships where I'm less on Amazon and more direct to the customer, direct to the companies, because it just seems more right. I don't know, just seems more right, better relations. It's more of a partnership versus I'm on their affiliate program and doing this, and they don't know me, but Bill at Vital Bike Chains knows me. The guys at Bicycle Wheel Warehouse, we talk, on the phone and stuff, and the people that sells the Connex chains, I know them. The new owner, yeah, it's cool. It's like it's the partnership type thing, and then working with it. Also with lithium, with the polishes and so forth, I know the new owner and met him, and he seems like a cool cat, and they're trying to grow their businesses and so forth, and we're working together versus just being on somebody's affiliate program platform and that kind of thing. It means more, I think, to you as my community and a community of cyclists and also a community of bike shops to have those vetted partnerships versus just buying it from a catalog kind of thing and just flipping it, that kind of deal. Anyway, just, that's kind of like how I feel about it. All right, what about stickers? Stickers. Saddleware stickers, you either pull them off if you don't want them on there, or you can clear, you can ceramic coat them on there. Stickers I use to get off of the frame is a heat gun that helps soften them up. It really moves out molecules and soften that glue up and make it a little bit easier. And once I get that sticker off, there's usually a good residue to it. And that's where I use lightly and politely carb cleaner or brake cleaner to break down the glue portion. Stay away from any decals that are exposed or not clear coated, because they'll wipe that decaling right off of the frame, especially on those older frames. But that's kind of the process, and test it when you're doing that process. But that's how I approach removing stickers for myself on that. But great question though. Levi in a house, 4,500. Thanks for 2 inches of snow. Ooh, sorry. Hopefully you're enjoying snow out there in Ohio. Yeah, boy. If you can get out and enjoy it, make some snowballs, make a snow fort. When it rains, it pours. Make lemon out of lemonades, that kind of thing. Anyway. Ordered a new Amslo PL carbon. Oh, nice. Probably ceramic coat it myself, because I do your car, no problem. Yeah, and actually new is super easy. You don't need to polish anything. You just take a little bit of rubbing alcohol, clean it, and making sure that surface is clean, and bam, do your stacking, layering, whatever you want to do. Oh, I should hit my Q rep again. I didn't used to do garage shops, but everyone's hurting, and they're desperate for people to buy parts. Yeah, Levi, you have a great point there, QVP. Just talk to, I can't remember her name, NBDA. They're supposed to be out actually Happy Cat in the Cab show in Chicago. NBDA, I'm part of now, and a member. And if you want to check them out, they're a great resource for bike shops and so forth if you haven't done so, or smaller industry people. But last year, boy, it was a flat out no when I was in Vegas last March. So we'll see what they say this time around. For some reason, they're just sticking to the guns of that. But yeah, I'll be checking with QVP again, and JBI, BTI. I have a call in for Holly or HLC. See if any of them. I mean, I don't buy a lot, but let's put it this way: if I got one of those vendors to work with me, then I can communicate to a lot of you that have mobile shops that are actually watching this, and give you an ability to I can get an account, and then instead of having no shop buying from them, maybe they could have 40 little shops buying enough to offset the one. It's at least something. And as long as we're insured with business license and resale license, who gives a rat's butt about it, right? I mean, come on. They need to wake up and join our new reality, or they're going to be like KHS and out of business because they're not willing to diversify, which leads to the biggest topic. And I don't know if I wanted to talk about it, but I feel like I need to talk about it. But we'll talk about it in a second. Let me catch up on the chat here. Oh, you have a little hole in a search shop, and they will give me parts only account. That's all you ask for, is parts only. I don't need to buy their bikes and other stuff. Actually, a good point. Yeah, I think that for a while they were like, you got to have a van, it has to be wrapped and all that, or brick and mortar, which is dumb to have that right now. That's so expensive. Maybe now. All right, I'll give it a try. All the other maybe there's enough of us calling them all the same week, going, hey, business license, insured, resale license, been doing it for X amount of years or time, a little portfolio. This is what we do. We do service. We're trying to help our communities. Just need an account. Doesn't have to be the super cheap. Doesn't have to be, whatever. Maybe. But then again, then you get in bed with the devil on that one, because okay, then your minimum orders are now $400 to $600 to get free freight. And then they have accounts that they used to you got to spend certain amount or pre-seasons, all that. It's for small guys, it's basically a big flat no, because we're not going to deal with that. But you're right though, and all of you are right, because the narrative's shifted that they're no longer driving the market, period. Who's driving the market? The bike shops that are working with their customers, their communities, and working with service and used. That's what's only in the marketplace right now. Or if you're Walmart selling the $288 gravel bike from Ozark Trail, which is actually a house brand that's being made by another big manufacturer, or actually it's a company that produces or has produced tons of bikes for department store bikes. But anyway, we won't go there. But anyway, you're talking about there's this erosion of market that they don't have anymore. And even a high-end service is not super there. I don't have a lot of people knocking down my door going, I want some brand new carbon wheels. Like, and if they do, they're buying them very cheaply somewhere else other than QBP or JBI, I know that. Any case. All right. No preseason, just order parts when I need. That's exactly what most of us need. No, maybe I'll $475. That's not too bad for free freight. I mean, QVP, they're shipping direct to consumer by white labeling through bike shops, leveraging their, white labeling collection process, like 365 cycles. Also universal cycles. There's like one bike shop or two bike shops that do it and has drop ship from QBP. So it's not like, I don't know, they're not doing anything totally out of the norm. Anyway, just crazy. But yeah, great points. Not that I necessarily need the super discounts, but I know I have a lot of, community members, community like yourselves that could use a little extra discount doing some of the things we're doing. But we'll see. We'll see what they have to say. And then again, it's like, do I really want to support them that they wouldn't support me before? Only out of desperation, they want to support me now? Should I hold a grudge? Do I sound bitter? Can be at times. Can be. But yeah, let's, if you like content like this and, talking about shop industry stuff, talking about stuff I'm going to be working on. I got a couple bikes I'm going to be working on that are personal. I also have a custom build Spot carbon bike I'm going to be building up next week. And I got a Klein full suspension, most likely be parting out. And I have a Wheeler road bike with campy stuff. And also a Bianchi with Shimano Ultegra stuff. I'll be working on in the next week. So I got plenty and plus I got some tune-ups being dropped off over the weekend. So going to be busy, which is great. I can't tell you how much that is helpful right now, being this busy. But in any case, so who wants to talk about big industry, big corporations? Should we talk about it for a couple minutes before I jump off? Yeah, they have a hang up. Bill at Vital Bike Chains is a good point. They had a hang up on like the address, JBI was going to work with me, but like, oh, you got to get like a UPS store retail account. Well, you go to a UPS store and you get a mailbox from them, which, it could be a commercial email or a commercial address to be shipped to. Well, the annoyance of having to go somewhere to pick up all my stuff instead of being shipped to my house, that's the one part. Second, it's like $600-700 to have a mailbox for a year. Like, that's just, dumb. Shipped to my house where my business license is. Let's call it good. Done. Anyway, get off that snowbox. Let's get on another snowbox. As you've probably seen, and I have a little, I want to say I have an opinion. I have some insights. My parents and I, when they opened up the bike shop in 1987, we were a Schwinn dealer. Also, we were a Trek dealer. You're gonna know where I'm gonna go with this real quick, real fast. And I thought about it, and I went for a bike ride and thought about it, and announced to them, they didn't know how weird it was gonna get as incorporations of wholesalers, but they did some seriously dumb moves that a lot of us in the front, at the ground level, knew what was going to happen after COVID. It's like you got a boom, and it's going to be a bust. So don't be too dumb on where they did. So they did all the wrong things, and it's not just specifically to Trek. They all did it. Specialized, Giant, Pond that carries Cervelo, used to be GT, Santa Cruz. They carry a whole bunch of bike brands. They all did it. They all train wrecked themselves. They were their own worst enemy. And now some of them are freaking out. Some of them are quietly freaking out. Some are in some serious underwater, owe the bank a lot of money, paying a lot of interest on those loans, did the whole bunch of things. And what really alludes to that insight is the pulling back of an article that got written. I should have added to the description, but I didn't know I was going to talk about it. But I'll add it later. But there's this article that was released, and it talked about an interview with former Trek employees, that kind of thing. That Trek's, give you the quick highlights that you haven't heard. Trek's had negative numbers for the last year and a half, which is not a shocker. They had too much investment in warehouses to carry the inventory that they brought too much in. They're paying on that. And those warehouse contracts they're not like a year or 3-year lease. They're like 5 to 10 year leases. So that's the expense burden. The downturn of the interest in bicycles in general, and especially high end, is down. Then looking at retail sales and so forth in the locations. Any of the locations that they purchased, location-wise, if it's not performing and it'll come up to lease, they're closing it. That's just business 101. So you got all this stuff and all these bad, however you feel about the companies, they just did had some really bad decisions, and they were not protecting themselves. They were thinking it's going to go forever. Like the gravy train of COVID numbers. No, but they did it to themselves, and you feel bad about it, about them, or about the companies. Are they too big to fail? They are not. The bike industry, when you look at the Trek Specialized, Pond Holdings, and Giant, that is a very small industry compared to a lot of other industries out there. So you're not going to be seeing them flying to DC on their private jets, begging for Congress for money to keep them from going out of business like they did the car industry back in the 2007. And actually, this administration doesn't give a rat's ass about the cycling industry whatsoever. So they're dead in water when it comes to that. So they have to figure out how they're going to shuffle. They're laying off. I've heard reports of some companies like, oh, they're fine. They're not laying off people. It's like, yes, they are. If they close down a store that's a corporate-owned store, that's a layoff. I mean, sorry, that's a reduction of workforce, period. And what's unfortunate about this and all of this is these are people's jobs. They got a job. They love what they're doing. That's why they're there, because cycling is a passionate industry. It's a passionate bike shops, people. We love what we do, however weird we are, but we love what we do, which is the common thread of all cyclists that are in the field. We didn't go to engineering degree and go, oh, I want to go work for a bike shop, that kind of thing. They did it because they enjoy bikes for the most part. And a lot of people have either worked in bike shops and got a degree and then worked for Trek or Specialized. I know a lot of people that have done that. And they're passionate about cycling. So the unfortunate portion of this, regardless of how the direction of the big companies have went, they've damaged a lot of people's faith in the cycling industry, period, from top down. Well, you still got individuals like me, and a lot of us are grassroots, working, taking care of our community of cyclists, and love what we're doing, and been doing it for years. And some of us are newer, some of us have been around forever, but that's where it's really thriving in a weird, oddly way if we're doing it right, leveraging service and used and servicing our communities. That is the plus. And the other plus is, unfortunately, been really drastic, but it's really taking the driving factor that the big corporations were driving the narrative of the cycling world is no longer there. Here's the thing. They haven't accepted it yet. I mean, how much negative numbers and layoffs and everything are they going to go, oops, our bad. Sorry, what can we do to make this company be supportive to the cycling communities in your neck of the woods? Right? Not just some blank coverage like, oh, we're going to do this because it's going to go well. It's going to be great. No, it's micro marketing. What's going to work for all these micro markets? We all have different markets. That's how we were very diversified. That's why we're all so weird. Because we all have different things. Some of us are roadies. Some of us are in a tri. Some are like in a mountain biking. Some are just like fixie, whatevers. And, you got the, class of BMXers, got all those different perspectives. And then you add e-bikers and the gravel world and all that stuff. So many different niches that they basically built-ish. But they didn't really support it. They made it. And now they're learning that they need to learn how to support those. What is that? Bringing in maybe less expensive bikes to compete against the Walmart, but being built by a bike mechanic that knows what they're doing, standing behind their products on their lower end stuff, the gateway drug into cycling. You can't just leave it on Walmart and Target and Dick's Sporting Goods to do that. To cultivate a good, and this is like 3 to 5 to 10 to 15 year plan. They got knocked back on their heels so bad that QBB is actually going to maybe talk to me. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't reached out this week, but a couple weeks ago, they're not so great. But that may have changed. JBI be like, sure, you got this, fine, we're good. We'll get you this. This is what we're doing. Because they're all trying to survive at this point. They're in survival mode, big time. So, what an interesting name. Thank you so much for the super chat. That's great. Awesome. Bought my first mountain bike, unfortunately, direct to consumer. Luckily, my local bike shop understands and said they would be happy to service it. That's awesome. Big companies need to quit bringing greed and give a little more of give you a little more of your money. I mean, get a little bit more for your money. Yeah, absolutely. So going back to that, and thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Not that you need to. I'm not soliciting tips. I mean, that's a work stand, not a pull. Bad joke. Anyway, so they were going through all. They're going through all this, and the epiphany to me is they haven't acknowledged that they failed. They're dead man walking. That's what it is. They have failed, even though they may think they have not failed. They are failed, and they're failing. And if they don't do something quick, this is really hard for big corporations, because I worked for a big bag chain store. It's not big bad, it's Big Five, and they're nice. But it's really hard to move a ship that has 400 stores any direction. Super hard. I worked it, I lived it. I'm like, hey, you should do this. And they're like, oh, we'll think about it. 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years later. Hey, we have a great idea. We should use scanners. Whatever. It takes a long time for big corporations to shift. Well, they're going to have to shift, and they're going to have to shift quick. Or they're going to lose it, because the market is dropped out underneath them. There is nothing, and there is no end in sight to this at all. I mean, there is no silver lining like, oh, we'll build back so we could loan ourselves money out of this. There's no loaning yourself out of this. I mean, it isn't. Chapter 7-11 are going to be huge, and already the biggest that we've had since the recession of 2007, 2008. So that's not just me talking. That's what I've been hearing the other people that have been around and very smarter than I been talking about. So where we're going with this is how can they help themselves? Well, let's do a quick reflection. I don't want to harp on this too long because it just sounds like a soapbox. And you've seen the other videos, and some of them are informative to some level of just basically reading the article. Some is kind of like, how could they just not see this and whatever? And it's like jab, 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 jab. It's like, okay, I'm the kind of person that, as I'm a positive person down to my core, even though I get grumpy and pissed off about things. And I used to be a punk rocker because that's why, because I care about things. And when it comes about caring, I don't want to see them fail. I don't. I want them to change, and I want them to service their independent bike dealers. How do they do this? How do they change their narrative? How do they change everything on a dime to be supportive to cycling communities? And if John Burke's listening to this, this is something that you should really think about. And don't listen to all the yes peoples, because that has gotten you where you are now, period. Acquisitions, this is a short story, acquisitions of the stores at the beginning from the big corporations of bike shops, Trek and Specialized. Trek had a very bad tendency of buying a shop and firing everybody. And then they realized, oh crap, those are specialty individuals that they can't easily replace. Then they flipped the narrative, which is good, and they actually provided a very good work environment place for employees. That's even better. But they had a hardship of doing a turn, but they did adjust, and good for them. That's the same thing, what needs to be done here. What can you provide to the cycling communities, to the bike shops, to whatever independent bike shop you have left that's willing to buy from you or listen to you or still drinks your Kool-Aid? Well, they have a very unique opportunity. And I've been told like, oh, they'll never do this. This is really dumb. I don't think they, but this is something. Okay. So they used to have 400 shops plus. I'm not sure what it is now. Let's say less. Well, the shops that they have still store corporates, and this includes Specialized. They should think about this. And Pond Holdings, they have like 10 stores under Mike's Bikes. But in any case, to support the cycling communities, the best would be providing excellent service, which they have service departments, not being alienating their customers coming in, having their older bike worked on, and trying to push a new bike, because the Kool-Aid was anything that's over 8 years old, they're going to try to push you to buy something new. Nix that. Give your service people the flexibility to be the winner of any and all repairs. Give them a leeway of giving away $25 to $50 to $100 worth of free labor on every tune-up that they work on. Because there's always something that comes up that they want to call you, nickel dime you on that extra thing that needs to be worked on. That needs to be negated, right? We've already figured this out as bike shop people. We do all that stuff all the time. We've been doing it for a long time. Independent bike dealers have been doing this forever. They need to do that to help the communities, because they're the shops that they bought and replaced from your mom and pop shops or small chains to now Trek stores. They still are there to service the communities. Them closing their stores is such a negative deficit to those communities. Even though they're not being supported by the big dollars, they're taking away a bike shop that used to be there to help them cultivate their cycling community, which is a negative deficit. So if you're planning to close any more stores, how about you just give that store to a bike shop owner or a new shop owner that would be willing to take up the ranks, not just close it down. But that's a whole different thing, and they'll never do that. But thinking about that is their service could be a lot better. They can service the community a lot better in that perspective. Trek has an opportunity, and it's so bluntly obvious to me, which just drives me crazy. They started this whole direct-to-consumer concept by using the Red Barn store refresh. They took their Red Barn, where they made the shops back 50 years ago. By the way, their anniversary to them, 50 years of making it. Hopefully they can make it 5 more. But hopefully they can do that. They are refurbishing their high-end bikes, like the Pros Closet, just like the Pros Closet. They can shift gears so fast, so quickly, that they can start refurbishing bikes in all the markets that their bike shops are in, they're still currently in, because all those bike shops are still in pretty thriving bike communities where they have a lot of used bikes right now. Maybe older, but they can get them. If they had a few people on their teams, basically searching the Craigslist marketplace and Craigslist, bring in used quality bikes for them to fix up and resell, they can service a lower price point for their communities to get people on bikes without paying tariffs on all the other stuff. That's the beauty of it. And the thing is, there's numbers that back this up. The used inventory being sold from bike shops that are leveraging this right now, not just me, are getting 50 plus points on those bikes, which that 50 plus points covers the labor of the bike mechanics, and gives them jobs. It's security in inventory for your floor and service the community. Instead of buying that department store bike, they're buying a good refreshed Trek 5200 for $800, and they can go ride days and days and days, right? There's a huge flip opportunity. They have to shift gears and they have to do it quick, or they're going to miss the boat and be even more hardship by the end of this season. Maybe they have enough pockets. Maybe they have enough investors. The latest article that was released does not paint a pretty picture. But regardless if they do this or the service or something, but the bottom line is, in my opinion, is they need to do something that's so community related to help them keep going. Or all their stores are going to close. Hundreds of bike mechanics and bike people that love cycling are going to be out of a job. And then we have a brand that's going to be bought by, a name that's going to be bought by some other brand. Who's the big fish in the water right now? They may not have a lot of money, but they are the big fish. Pond Holdings. They bought Cervelo, Santa Cruz, Cannondale, GT, Mongoose, Schwinn, and 50 other brands. They shelf some of those lines. They own car industry. They're huge. They could probably scroll up some money to pay off Trek's debt and buy the brand name. I'm not saying that's happening. I'm just saying that's one of the shifts that could possibly happen. But in any case, it depresses me, but I think there is a silver lining here somewhere. If anything, hopefully it'll help the independent bike dealers where I was basically born and raised in from Parker Bikes, and my dad would be going, shout out at the top of your lungs, this needs to change. This needs to take care of our communities. We were a mom and pop shop, and all those, forget, but let bygones be bygones. Let's go forward from here. I don't want to hold any resentment to any of these companies that maybe not did the right thing at the time. But from here forward, we need to start working together from the bottom up and the top down. In any case, man, I sound like I'm just preaching. A little podium, a little computer. What say you? What do you think in your neck of the woods? It's, however you're like greed or aggressive anger and all that doesn't help anything. It's like, let's think about it. Yeah, I'm going to go backwards from the chat here because I know you guys chatted in. Yeah, when Pond shelved GT, it kind of pissed me off too, because they were making some pretty cool bikes. Even those under the Pond name, but they had their own little subset crew. They were doing their designing and engineering and all that kind of cool stuff, and they got all canned. And the line got shelved. You got used bikes and you have problems with used bikes, but right now we have a surplus of used bikes that could be relatively fixed up pretty easily in everybody's garages across the United States that have already been The tariffs have been paid on those years ago. I mean, they're here. There are opportunities. They can get people on bikes at price points that they can afford right now. Because some people, like us, are in a situation like we may have to ditch a car. We might have to ride a bike to work. We may have to be more, you know, really more frugal on everything from here on out until things change. Absolutely. That's just not me. That's thousands and thousands of family ecosystem units that are dealing with this right now. And cycling can help quite a bit. And a bike under 1,000 and getting rid of a car payment and insurance and all that, it's a big lift off of your financial burden to get through to what the next stage is. But yeah, absolutely. Whew. Trek is a USA-born company. Well, yeah. And Red Barn, they made a lot of bikes in the United States. They tried their best for the longest period of time, you know, up to about 2007, 2008. And yeah, it upset me to have them no longer be a brand and just to be a name owned by another brand like all the others. I mean, there's some rich history there, regardless of how you feel about the company. There's a lot of rich history there. And I hate to see that all just, you know, become a past tense. And, you know, it's just one of those things that it's tough to talk about because we got all the other stuff that's going on that's distracting. And it's like everybody has stories. You know, I'm reading right now. It's like, yeah, they didn't like take care of me, or it, you know, it's lost. Like it's it's like it's lost. It's, oh, what my dad would say. It definitely has lost its cool factor, its mojo. It's lost its sense of style. I mean, you know, you got to have a sense of style of doing things. You have like you know, your shop has a sense of style, and hopefully it's not negative. But I mean, it's, you know, it's a sense of style. Like you got to do something with class, basically. You know, either treating your customers, treating your employees, having all those things. And yeah, I mean, they could look into going back to Advocate. They can build frames back in the United States, but it's going to be a small scale. It's such a huge, expensive lift to do that. And whether have contracts with companies that have been doing it and really are good at it to bring that in, I don't see that happening, unfortunately. But there are companies that are excelling at that. Steiner in California, which they do make their own line, but they also white label steel frames and titanium frames. That's a possibility too, and assembling and so forth. But you know, what it comes down to, you want to have the best people or the best facilities making the best product possible for the brand that you're trying to sell. That's always been the case, because, you know, Shimano and SRAM, they're the bike componentry wise, and then you have the wheel manufacturers and all the other bits go on there. So when you're really talking about bikes, which is very complicated in a sense, simple to ride but complicated machine, that the manufacturers, brands, are really only responsible for the manufacturing of the frame and sometimes the fork. Everything else is pieced out from all these other subcontract companies that build stuff. So sink your head in it, you know, try to wrap your head around that. It's like, hey, just, you know, this is too much. And talking to John Bradley as a brand developer for Trek for years and various others, it's not, you know, it's not easy. It's not an easy job, for sure. Any case. Yeah. Whew. Anyway, I should probably wrap this up. I got things to do. I talked a lot longer than I should have. Probably about too much. But in any case, I mean, I appreciate y'all hanging out. I need to watch the Schwinn video. Yeah. that came out. But yeah, I'm going to give all the shout outs to all you guys that chimed in, and highly recommend. Thank you so much. It makes you that makes this. Please like and subscribe. If you're new, I talk about stuff like this. I have videos working on bikes. So this is the garage shop experiment, and it's been going well, and we're doing fine. But yeah, it's been very, very fun and entertaining to have a community here as well as locally to help me do what I do and get people on bikes and having fun, that kind of thing. Absolutely. So shout out to Heavy Metal Cycles and Saddle Worry. Thank you for chiming in and still chiming. Talk amongst yourself. John, thank you for chiming in as well as an avid reoccurring chatter. And we have GPOS in New York. Thank you. Hope everything's going well in your shop. Triple Threat, thank you for joining. Thank you for chiming in. Appreciate it. Thank all of you. Advocates for, yeah, I don't disagree. Thank you for chiming in, and thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. It helped my channel grow and thrive and all that. If you're a consumer or a bike people, check out my website under I Know a Guy Bicycles. I have trusted partners, which that's it is affiliate kind of links and so forth, and there's some discounts to help you, and then what you purchase there helps me as well as my Amazon store. So that's all the little passive income that I can get is going to help for sure. And I'm a total advocate. Just don't give me money. Get something you're going to need to get anyway. That you get something, I get something, everybody's happy. Anyway, that's how I look at it. For sure. Yeah, and things are going to get busier here real soon for a lot of us. So the chitter chatter and the topics are never ending going into the season. It's going to be pretty strange and crazy. Levi, thank you for joining in, 4,500. Appreciate you. Seen you in a chat before. Lucky Larry, same to you. Good luck on that new carbon bike that you got. Hope you have lots and lots of miles and enjoyment of that new bike to you. Or it actually is a new bike. And all those, also Charlie, Dylan 1400. Thank you for chiming in. And 7 miles. Boy, you guys have been really active in chat. It's awesome. I'll get to House. Thank you for chiming in. Appreciate it. And Bill at Vital Bike Chains in the garage. Okay, I think I mentioned everybody here in the chat. Joe channel, forgot to mention Joe. Old timer like me, but on the north of the border, really cold country. Hope you enjoy your ride today. Hopefully it's not too cold for you. And David, Howell, thank you for chiming in as well. And I think I'm almost at the top of the list here. 65 Bugnut. Thanks again for joining again. It's been interesting. And Alki Virus, thank you for joining. You're a newer chatter, so appreciate you for your opinions and acknowledgement and all that good stuff. Absolutely. Yeah, boy. Let's see here. Well, Schwinn, has a little comment here. Nice to see you again. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Hey, I try. Honestly, I hope I don't, offending people is one thing, but trying to just keep the conversation going, right? It's like, and I'm not a dead set, this is it, this is what I think it's going to be, but I could be proven wrong, and I'll be the first one to admit I have been wrong. Therefore, I have accepted that it all crashed. And that happened when we lost Parker bikes. So I know the feeling. I'd been there, the hardships of that. And to rebuild from there, and you have to change your complete thought process of how you feel about everything. And I'm in a position, luckily enough, that I've had those experiences, and now I feel like I'm on a good trajectory of serving my community, the cyclists that come to me for help, that entrust me to work on their bikes, which I feel very flattered and privileged to, it's a privilege to do that. So when you take on that humble perspective versus a entitlement perspective, I think you're going to go a lot further and longer as a shop, as an employee, as a bike mechanic, and tap out when you get too stressed out. You got to pull the plug, go, hey, I need to take a little time for myself, for mental, because I've been there. I've been to burnout. I've been to burnout several times with my parents' shop, to the point where my dad had to pull me aside, like, you need to take some time off. Like, you're just getting really snarky. So I've been there, and I've seen the result of that. And, granted, what I say may not ever resonate to who really matters or needs to be. And yes, we're going to see some failures or what have you. And again, no brand at this point, in my opinion, is not safe. And what if they try to go out, if they're going to, at least you try to do something for the community before you went out into the sunset, versus, yeah, we tried to sell $10,000, $15,000 bikes as much as we could, and all of a sudden we're out of clothes. Like, did you really do anything for the communities and so forth? And I'm not saying some of these companies do a lot to certain communities already, and do so. I'm not saying that they don't do anything at all. They do. It's just, it needs to be a bigger, more grand gesture movement, and being part of the movement, because right now the movement is not favorable to them. What's shifted is going to just snuff them out if they're not careful. That's really what I'm saying. And however they leverage that, bringing bike mechanics that got laid off, working in their garage, servicing their community, because they, are not dumb enough to open up a retail store. And QBP and JBI and BTI help service them for parts and so forth. And maybe a small bike line will let them sell some cruisers or something like that out of the garage. That is better than nothing in some of those communities. I've heard it through chats and so forth. Some of these communities are devastated because they no longer have a bike shop that helps support them. And all of a sudden they have to drive an hour or two to get to a shop close to them. Or they're relying only on direct-to-consumer sales, and then trying to figure it out themselves. And there's a safety barrier there that needs to be addressed, and everything else in between. So, it's just crazy. The whole thing is just nuts. And there's some things that they can do to switch the narrative. First, think about being a human being, and then go from there, right? There's a lot of people out there that need to ride bikes. They just need to, either for commuting, getting rid of a vehicle, mental health, exercise, kids riding to school, all those things. It just needs to be done. And are you going to be part of the solution? Part of helping that out, and admitting, or not admitting, but just accepting that what we have now is failing and needs to shift. Where's the wins? Where can we get wins? And get a couple wins and start there and go from there. Act like you're a grassroots company, trying to fight for every customer's, not just their dollars, their commitment to your company, because they have a validation that you are actually a good company now. Right? Like, some of those people just don't, I've heard of Trek, but they're Trek. But, you gotta kill the stigma. You gotta change it around. That includes Specialized, it includes Giant, Pond, everybody else in between. Got to work with independent bike dealers, because they're the ones that are going to be left standing. And however that looks, maybe it will be different from here on out. Guaranteed it's going to be completely different. It already is. And if they can't see it staying this way for long term, they're going to be lost, they're going to be left behind. That's just the cruel reality of it. I mean, I just have to say, that's just it. Oh, I do a good job with industry news. It's a perspective piece. That's how I read it. I'm like, whoa. And it's so huge. It's huge. We make a joke off of the Onward movie because I have a daughter and we saw the movie. It was like, so huge. I mean, the European, I'll read some of the articles in the European. It's like, who bought who, what, when? It's like, I don't know, and there's so many different things. But in my little micro world, what I've been with in the trenches and working with a lot of my brothers and sisters in the cycling industry, because we love cycling. We love getting people on bikes, and that should be the passion. And we need to bring the passion back in, and everything else will come along. But you need to start somewhere better than it is right now for a corporate. And for all us bike shops, we figured this out this year. We're like, damn, service, used stuff. What are we gonna do? Like, oh, you got the 600 Ultegra, 6500 Ultegra shifters that went bad. Well, let me go look on eBay. Maybe there's somebody like I know a guy bicycles selling a set of those on eBay, and I'll just get that and get your bike going with matched parts instead of putting on some barely all plastic junky shifters that are overpriced anyway. So that's what we're looking at. So anyway, a lot of different perspectives that help small businesses thrive in this little weird ecosystem, but here we are. Anyway, thank you all for the positive shout outs too. That's all awesome. That really, help me do what I do. For sure. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me in the garage. I'll leave you with this one note here. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. Shop on Amazon. I do have an Amazon store, like the latest pick, basically, of products that are on sale, that kind of thing, and various other parts and tools and so forth that I suggest using within those particular categories. Check that out. Go through, and even if you don't buy the product that I suggest and you find something else that fits your needs better or your grocery list or whatever you end up buying, I get a little kick. So that's a good opportunity for you to get something and I get something that helps support me doing what I'm doing. And again, I hope everybody has a great weekend. Get out and bike and ride. I'm gonna have to go ride. Not just because of all this, but it's just so nice out. I mean, heck, what is it? It's 54 degrees right now. That's in the shade. It's probably 65 in the garage here with the garage door open of all things. So that's nuts. Anyway, thank you all for hanging out with me. It's Friday. It's Freak Out Friday. See me on Tuesday on Shop Talk Tuesday. I'm going to bring in more people to talk with, so it's not just me. Get special guests and so forth to kind of open your eyes and your experiences of shop and bike shop life and all that. So that's what we're looking to do. And yes, I'm going to ride my classic Steel Le Mans. Some good riding. And again, thank you so much. And oh yeah, thank you for that super chat earlier. Much appreciated. But again, go through my affiliates, look for stuff on whatever you buy stuff, and hopefully get a little kick. And whatever. I'm not a beggar or a chooser. I'm just happy to be here. Really, I am. Oh yeah. Got to get working. Thanks again. You guys have a wonderful weekend.